let's get started with Verbals for Slackers Part 2, Proofing Edition. You'll find that everything in this one builds on what you've already started, so it should be a pretty natural progression. We're going to be focusing on the distractions for proofing that are things that you will run into in real life, such as obstacles out ahead or distractions out ahead. Also, late motion. Ideally, on course, our motion always helps the dogs, but you know, sometimes it's late, life goes on. And the other thing that we're going to look at is potentially opposite motion. And so you'll be running one direction, but giving the verbal for going the other direction. Does the dog understand? Can they process that? And can we help them process that? Now, proofing is not the same as failure. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times when we proof a behavior, people set the dog up to fail and fail and fail. And that's not fair. And that doesn't help them learn. We know they learn through reinforcement, not through being told you're wrong all the time. So what you're going to want to do is have a failure meter going in your head. If the dog fails once, no big deal. No worries, try again. If the dog fails twice, either twice in a row or 2 out of 3 attempts, you need to make it easier. You need to dial it back, because the more that they fail, the more frustrating it becomes and the less they learn. So I always have a failure meter ticking away in my head. I don't mind one failure, but a couple of failures, I have to make it easier for the dog. Now, if there is a failure, no big deal. Have a chuckle, call them back, don't reward, because we're still going to be keeping the rate of reinforcement really, really high. And what I mean by that is you're looking for the dog to be successful 80% of the time at a minimum. Now, some dogs need to be successful 95% of the time. Now, how do you know what the rate of success is? You just count. And I've done that on some of your videos in part 1, where I will count the total number of repetitions and how many of those were correct versus incorrect. So if you did 20 repetitions and 10 were failures, that means 10 are correct. You are going at a 50% rate of success, and that is not good. And one session like that is not the end of the world, but you do need to make it easier for the next session. If you are constantly working at a 50% rate, you and the dog will be frustrated. If you're constantly working at a 100% rate, you're probably not going to learn as fast. I shoot for 90s. That would be nice, right? Get an A, but maybe not an A+++. 80% or above for 2 sessions in a row means you can make it harder for that 3rd session. You don't want to keep it too easy for too long. The caveat to that being, if you change environment and change location, go back to an easier distraction so that the dog does not have to consider the environment as well as whatever distraction you're putting out there, because environment is a distraction as well. So let's get started with your pregame.